welcome to Slasher Sunday. So I'm going to be uploading this on Monday, unfortunately. It is Sunday at the moment, but no internet. You guys know the drill. Now let's start this shit off with a bang, alright? Let's start this off with a hot take, so to speak. This is actually a discussion slash argument I got into with my friends last night. I made the bold statement of Giallos are just slashers. They're like Italian slashers with detectives in them. Now, I think that people like to come up with all these subgenres of something, or more like subgenres of things, to sound more sophisticated and knowledgeable and this and that. But we were getting into the whole like, oh, what's a giallo and what's a slasher and this and that, and a lot of arguments and points were being thrown around, and they were like, oh well, the giallo is what inspired the slasher. And I was like, well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, we know that Mario Bava was heavily inspired by Alfred Hitchcock, who made Psycho. And Psycho is kind of the original slasher, along with Peeping Tom. Came out the same year. So technically a slasher inspired a giallo. And then giallos then inspired some slashers, like A Bay of Blood obviously inspired Friday the 13th. But here's the other thing: Psycho also inspired Halloween, and Halloween is what really inspired the 80s slasher genre explosion. So I don't know, that's a tough one for me, but there's so many elements of a slasher in a giallo that for me, it's kind of like an all-encompassing genre. And then you have a subgenre of like the American slasher, the giallo, whatever. Because you have this kind of whodunit, mystery killer, guys going around or girls going around, killing people in POV shots, nudity, It's very slashery. I mean, it's a slasher. These are slasher movies. Yes, they have a detective in them. But then again, and people are like, oh, well, it's Italian, this and that. Okay, then what is the movie Pieces? Pieces has a detective. Pieces has everything a giallo does, but it's not an Italian film. And then my buddy Daniel was throwing out the whole, oh, well, it's because the killer is unknown, and that in most slashers that's not the case. And I was like, really? Because I can name a ton off the top of my head. The original Friday the 13th was a whodunit throughout, pretty much. There was My Bloody Valentine. I listed like 15 titles off the top of my head. It was like Happy Birthday to Me and fucking Scream 1 through 4. And there's plenty of slasher movies where the killer isn't known. And then there's a good amount of slasher movies that have detectives investigating the killings as it's going on. So the whole argument that giallos are not my buddy David was like, the plural of giallo is giallis, I guess. Whatever. But moving on. All right, I want to get to the review regardless, but before people start attacking, oh, this is a giallo, not a slasher, this and that. Dude, this is a slasher movie with a detective. Yeah. Can it also be classified as a giallo? Absolutely. Sure. Why not? But the people that are like, no, giallos and slashers are completely different. That's fucking just bullshit. That's not true. They're so similar. So for me, it's just like splitting hairs. It's like, I think that giallos fall into the slasher category. Plain and simple. So, anyways, alright, moving on from that. So, now the music in this is, I want to point out, I got the Scorpion release for Sleepless. The uncut And yeah, I was really excited to get this. I've always had that crappy DVD copy, and I was like, all right, I gotta see this. Now, having watched this last night, I don't think I've seen this movie. I thought I had seen it, but after watching it, I'm like, I don't recognize this movie at all. So I don't know why I thought I'd seen this movie, but I'd never seen this movie. Now, this stars Max von Sydow, who plays the main detective in this. And the music is done by Goblin, which I was like immediately excited about the music as soon as I heard it. I was like, ah, this is great. And then it was like music by Goblin. I was like, that's why it's great. And then, excuse me. Oh, by the way, if you haven't, if you like this movie, this transfer is absolutely worth it. It's like $30 on Ronin Flicks, but man, absolutely gorgeous transfer. I mean, flawless. Fucking looks like it was made today. Incredible. And the style. See, this is towards the end of Argento's artistry, because from here on most of his films are extremely panned, and this is the last one where a good amount of it, his audience is like, this is his last great work. This is like his in the Mouth of Madness for me. Like everything that he's made after this is questionable. Now some people like, The Card Player, and Do You Like Hitchcock, and I don't know anybody that likes Dracula 3D, but I have heard some people say that they like, Giallo and some of these other films. But as I said, I don't think I've ever heard a single person say they like Dracula 3D. But yeah, the style in this film is pure Argento. This is like Argento, at some of his best he's done, for me. Like, obviously, we know Deep Red, and we know Suspiria, and we know Tenebrae, and we know all these classics that he made. And the style in that is rich, and it's amazing, and it's like what made his career. And you just don't see a lot of that in his later work. Like, I've seen some of the other movies. I don't think I've seen all of them, but I've seen, like, Do You Like Hitchcock and those things. It almost feels like someone's trying to knock off a Argento film. It's like someone copying it and not doing a very good job. But this one, now I'm gonna rewatch all those, and because I started my Argento run through, which some of those I'm not that proud of because I just didn't understand them as well as I wish I had, and that's one where I wish I would have just went back and watched it twice and tried to figure everything out before I went and sat down. But that's not really my style. I like to kind of wing it and fuck up here and there and not really understand things. That's fine for me. I'm not here to explain shit to you guys, as you know. But yeah, I started it and I ended it right here. I ended it at Sleepless, and the reason I ended it at Sleepless was because I hated the copy I had. And I was like, I don't want to watch this one. And I was looking for like a better copy and this and that. And I don't even know if this had been released at the time. But I had seen it on Ronin Flicks recently and was like, I gotta get that. I want to watch that. This, Scorpion puts out some beautiful Blu-rays, so fuck it. I'm just gonna pull the trigger and spend the $30 on it. And I'm so glad that I did. I really enjoyed the hell out of this movie. I really, really enjoyed the hell out of this movie. And the transfer is just, it's fucking, anybody who tells me that they can't see the difference between a Blu-ray and a DVD is either not seeing the right Blu-ray or not really seeing on the right TV, or the DVD and the Blu-ray aren't really that different. That does happen. The Jaws 3 Blu-ray is worse than the fucking Jaws 3 DVD. The Jaws 3 Blu-ray is garbage. So if they threw that on and then they threw the Jaws 3 DVD in, they'd be like, I don't understand, like, what's so great about Blu-ray? But if you want to see, like, take the Sleepless DVD, throw that in, and then throw this fucking thing in on a like legit television that plays this in high def, throw it on a 4K TV with upscaling, people will be like, okay. And if you don't see the difference between that, dude, get to an ophthalmologist quick. Your vision is fucked. So, all right. So, we got this prostitute at the beginning, and she's like, no way, that's disgusting, never gonna happen. And then he's like, how about some money? Some extra cash. And she's like, oh, okay, that's fine. And then nothing happens. And then she leaves and grabs a folder and just gets out of there. Like, was something supposed to happen? Like, maybe I need to rewatch that scene because I was so confused. She was like, absolutely not. You're a fucking perv. This is crazy. And then he, like, puts up money and she's like, oh, okay. Maybe that's her shtick. Maybe she's like, everything is too crazy. And then guys up the ante, give her more money. It'd be a good tactic, right? But nothing happens then. Like, he just gets in bed and like lays down, and then he kind of just lays there as she leaves the house. So, and then she takes the money with her. So was something supposed to happen in there? Or was she supposed to like shit on his face or something? Like, what was this guy into? What was he asking her for? Did I miss it altogether? Like, I was so confused by that scene. But I don't know. Like, I never want to rewind. Most of the time, I really want to rewind scenes, although I probably should for the channel. Max von Sydow. Now, this film is like almost 20 years old, and Max did die this year, but man, this dude always looks old. This poor fucking guy. He gets this role back in 1973 in The Exorcist. This is a big thing, and he has to wear this old man makeup that like near ruins his fucking career because everybody thinks that this guy's old as fuck and doesn't want to hire him. And then, once he starts working again and getting the roles, he really is old. And it's like every fucking role I see this guy in, whether it's Lor San Tekka from fucking Force Awakens or, in this or whatever. Like, whatever I see him in, I'm like, dude, you look old. You look super old. It's kind of funny every time. I'm just like, damn, dude. He's like a Richard Gere or Steve Martin or something. These guys always have looked old. Like, I've never seen them look young ever. And then we find out about the dwarf killer. There's this supposed dwarf that was killing people, and then he got caught, killed, and that was solved. And then the murders start back up again after 17 years of silence. Right? Isn't that what it is? I wrote it down. I swear that's accurate. 17 years, yeah, since murders stopped. And which, of course, in any of these, they always say, like, that's impossible. Like, once somebody starts killing, they can't take a break. It becomes an addiction. They can't hold off on it. Is that true? I mean, I know that they say it's true, but you really just can't. Like, nobody ever does that. Although, I don't know. I always say that the best serial killers in the world, you never even knew they ever existed. There's no link between them at all. They're so calculated, like a Mr. Brooks, that movie with Kevin Costner. That dude is so good at what he does that no police detective on earth would ever connect, one murder with the other. He flies to different places. He changes the kind of person he does. Now, that's, I guess, unrealistic, supposedly, because people have like an MO and this and that. But as I said, I think those are the people that are typical. And so it's easy to profile the typical. But the people who are more unique, I don't think they have the traditional patterns. And I don't think that a lot of detectives and psychoanalysts and these mind hunter type guys, they never even know they exist. It's like like CGI or something. It's like the best CGI is the one that you never knew existed. Like you show it to people and you're like, did you know this whole scene was CG? Or they're like, did you know that background was CG? Or something. And people are like, what the fuck? Like, I hate CG. And it's like, did you even notice that was CG? Nope. And it's like, well, then you don't hate CG. You hate CG that you notice, you know? Anyway. And then she gets on this train, gets out of there, and there's nobody on this train. And I love this shot of her in the window of the train screaming and no one can hear her and she's bleeding, and then like the curtains slowly come down as her friends there waiting for her. Some beautiful women in this movie. That's to be expected in these Italian flicks, especially at this time. It's this is later on. This is like 2001. This is not that old of a movie. This is in the 2000s, which is crazy. But yeah, some very attractive ladies, as one would expect. She gets her fucking fingers chopped off. There is some brutal violence in this movie. There's some pretty gnarly shit seen in this film. And I loved every single second of that. Yes, 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 yes. Another reason why it's a slasher. I mean, it's just, gratuitous fucking violence and gratuitous nudity. Just like a slasher. And sharp implements are used for every killing, just like a slasher. And yeah, I already talked about all that. And then the detective is having memory problems throughout the film, which I thought was kind of cool. He's getting older. He's like a Bill Hodges. He's like past retirement, and he's still trying to get into things. And they kind of touch upon the fact that he's missed a step or two here and there, and he just dies like randomly in the film, like towards the end, but just kind of shockingly. You're like, oh, this is going to be the guy who figures it out. He's going to be the Loomis of the movie. Nope, he just fucking dies, and you're like, oh, okay. And he's just gone, and that's that. And it's like, wow, that's cool, man. You never see that kind of stuff. Subvert those expectations all damn day. And I like that the women in this movie are very damsel in distress, and they keep going to these guys for protection or help, and these guys are just so blasé, like, oh, what do you want? Oh, I guess you can come with me. This and that. Like, these are beautiful women, and they are begging men for their help while they're alone with them. I doubt the men's reactions are going to be like that. Almost any dude's going to be like, yeah, oh my God, I can fucking help you. I can help you with anything you need. Literally anything that you need, I got you. And oh, the dancer that gets drowned. It's a cool looking sequence. That chick is hot. And then the mom, we get to see this flashback of this main the main guy's mom, and she's being brutally stabbed by this fucking like flute. It's just jamming right into her face, into her. Oh, it's gnarly, and it was great looking. Imagine seeing that as a kid. Imagine seeing your mom brutalized by like a brass instrument. Like something freaking, just being taken and smashed into her face, piercing her skull and all. Like, this kid would have grown up to be the killer. Come on now. He was fucked in the head, no doubt about it. And then they give you some bit of a clue on, what's going on here. Since that guy finds that gold pen, and then you've got Lorenzo's rich daddy here, and his pen goes missing. He's like, where's my pen? You're like, oh, it must be Dad. And you kind of are right. Your dad is in on it. He's been protecting his son. So we get to see somebody playing a harp in this, and I just think the harp is such a beautiful instrument. I mean, I can't think of a single thing I've ever listened to that has a harp in it. I'm sure that's, there is something, but it's not an instrument you hear very often, except for, kind of like a stereotypical angel sequence or something. Yeah, the harp is really, really never seen. You get it in like Rivendell, uh, in the Middle Earth movies. You get like you barely ever see harps, but man, they don't. I'm sure they're hard as fuck to play because there's so many strings in this and that. And I would like to see how they're played, but from what I can tell, from what I just an observation of just saying, like you just pluck the string, and that's it. Like that string just has like one tone to it, and then you just go through and you just know which string to pluck, kind of like a piano, right? You're basically like going inside the piano and playing the keys just on the wires themselves. So like there's no there's no frets. There's nowhere to change the tone of the string. It's just one string after the other. So it's just you plug this one, you get this sound. You plug this one, you get that sound. So you're just going through, and that's that. I don't know. Like as I said, I'm sure it's complicated as fuck, and it'd be so hard to play. You can get it all down. But I was looking at it, being like, oh wow. So you really just if you want to play that, you just pluck that string, and then this one, and this one, this one. I don't know. For some reason, it looked easy to me when I was playing. I was like, it doesn't look like that difficult of an instrument. Of course, I'm sure. I know it is, but it was just funny when I was looking at it. And then, you got the pen stabbing as well. Another good gory moment. And then you got the woman's fucking face smashed into the wall, and then you get like these close up of her teeth gasping as her, her mouth is all broken and busted, and then his face is into the wall again, dragged around. Like, it's so brutal. I love it. And then you get a decapitated head, and the head's like an animatronic, so like the lips and stuff are still moving on the head as it's like, it's kind of like the the death rattle or something. It's fucking brutal, man. Does it look real? Not really, but I don't care. It's the thought that counts. Moretti, there you go, Moretti. He dies just kind of out of nowhere. It's like, oh, he had a heart attack or whatever. I mean, we know that he was shooting at somebody, and we know what happened, but like in the movie, he's just gone and it's over, and it's just wild to me. And then I like how the main dude in this, he starts hooking up with the harp player chick, kind of out of nowhere. Like this girl has a boyfriend, and then he comes in. They haven't seen each other since they were kids, and he's like, "Oh, you're hot." Her boyfriend's kind of like whatever, and then him and her, fuck and are dating or like kissing and walking around, and then like he's just like, "This is my girl now," and it's like, okay, like there's no conflict between, like she never leaves the boyfriend in this. She never, like there's no conflict there. It's just like, and I'm with this guy now. Like deal with it. It's kind of funny. You would think that her having a boyfriend in this would play into it for something, because they kind of set it up like there's going to be drama maybe. Nope. It's just like, yeah, I'm on this dick now. Goodbye. The steering wheel in this movie that they're in the car that they're driving is on the left side, like in America. I thought that was odd. They drive in like over there in most places. I'm pretty sure the wheel's on the right, like everywhere, isn't it? Yeah, tell me. Actually, I can't even remember where this movie's set now. Isn't it in like Rome or something? Or did I miss? I swear it is. So yeah, aren't cars wheels on that side of the road? Or on the side of the car? I don't know. And I got the killer, or the dad, shoots himself in the head, and then is like trying to pull the trigger on himself, like again, like he shoots himself in the head and doesn't die, and like is trying to pull the trigger. Can you imagine? Like it would be so hard to pull the trigger on yourself anyway, but like to not die, and then be like, oh fuck, it hurts so bad, I gotta do it again. No, I don't want to do it again. I didn't want to do it the first time. Pulling the trigger on yourself would be horrible. Having to do it twice. Damn, man. And Lorenzo is the killer, and his performance when he is revealed to be the killer, and he has to give his like crazy, exposition dump character moment. He's awful. He's awful. He's one of the worst like reveal villains I've seen in the acting department. It's bad. Bad, like funny bad. But weirdly, and I think it's because we give passes to movies like this. If this happened in a modern movie, like an American modern horror flick, if I went to the theater, I can't even imagine going to a theater anymore. It's weird. But if I went to the theater and I saw a performance like that as the ending, the big reveal, I would laugh, and it would not be in a good way, and I would not forgive it. I'd be like, what the fuck is this? And I'd come right here to this channel and be like, this guy needs to die. No, okay, that's extreme. But it's just funny how we're so willing to look past stuff in older cinema or certain kinds of cinema. We're just like, well, I'll give it a pass. Like, I still liked it. You would never do that now. It's fascinating. It's always fascinating. And then I like that we find out that the dwarf in this movie was actually just a kid. He was like 13 at the time, which 13, you're pretty big. I mean, you're bigger than a dwarf by that point. Like 13, when I was 13, I was like 6 feet tall. No joke. And Lorenzo looks like he's probably 6 feet tall. So he's probably like fucking at least 5 something. He's at bare minimum 5 feet. So I don't even think you're considered a dwarf. Like, I don't think you can be unless you're under 4'9". I think that's it, isn't it? 4'9", 4'10", somewhere in that area. So, yeah. I don't even know. Is that wrong? I thought that I heard that you have, like, in order to be considered like a little person, you have to be under 4'9". Is that accurate? Look that up. Google that for me. Let me know. But by 13, this male that looks like he's probably 6 feet was not 5 feet tall. Bullshit. Anyway, but yeah, we find out that he's a killer. And that he took this nursery rhyme to heart. And I really like the reading of it. And we actually get some like animation in here when the nursery rhymes. That's kind of cool. And then Lorenzo's fucking shot through the face. And it's beautiful. It's so brutal. I love this kind of shit. So the killings are great. The style is awesome. The music rules. The transfer's beautiful. You got Max von Sydow. You got hot chicks, nudity. You got so much great here. You've got Argento style just fucking all over the screen with Goblin playing and beautiful like these like the train set and all that stuff. Great stuff, man. Really, the lighting, all of it is just. What is this? What was this? I don't know what that was. It was supposed to be okay. I don't fucking know what I was gonna do there. But it was awesome. First I was gonna do the mwah, like that, and then I went for like the okay too. It turned into like a butthole. I don't fucking know. All right, so yeah, it's a slasher. It's a fucking slasher with a detective. Call it a Giallo, that's fine. But it's also a slasher. Fight me on it.